I sat alone on a church pew, wearing a custom wedding gown worth $800,000. My fiancé had left me there for 4 full hours. Meanwhile, he was holding another woman in a live stream, celebrating her birthday. The crystal chandeliers were too bright, so bright my eyes ached. The train of my dress pulled around me like a heavy cloud, pressing against the marble floor. Lily, the makeup artist, came over for the 3rd time. Her voice was soft, cautious, as if she were afraid of disturbing something fragile. Evelyn, it's already 9 p.m., Mr. Harris might be held up by something. Maybe we should head back first. I shook my head. Outside the church, reporters crowded the steps. Camera flashes pierced through the stained glass windows, white bursts of light. Again and again, like silent lightning. What were they waiting for? For me to run out crying? To fall apart? My phone vibrated. A push notification popped up, the headline bold and merciless. Elite wedding in crisis. Daniel Harris absent from rehearsal spotted spending the night with socialite Luna Miller. I tapped it. A live stream. The camera shook wildly. Music blasted. A villa party so extravagant it hurt to look at champagne towers stacked high. Lights blinding. Luna Miller wore a silver sequin mini dress that barely covered anything. She was practically draped over Daniel. She smiled at the camera, eyes curved sweetly. Her voice cutting through the noise, soft, sticky sweet. "You're asking about Daniel?" She laughed, tilting her head, her lips brushing his cheek. "For my birthday, of course. He even postponed his wedding rehearsal for me. Isn't he thoughtful?" The camera swung to my fiancé, Daniel Harris. I'd known him for 12 years, loved him for 10. In 1 week, he was supposed to be my husband. He wore the dark gray suit I'd personally flown to Italy 3 times to have custom made, a champagne flute in hand. He smiled at the camera, not awkward, not forced. It was a relaxed smile, indulgent, approving, almost tender. The comments exploded. "Holy hell, the fiancé is still waiting at the church. Luna wins, no contest. Evelyn is pathetic." Everyone knew Evelyn was too much. Rich background means nothing if you're cold. Wedding sponsors are quietly pulling out. This is hilarious. Daniel clearly loves Luna more. Is she seriously still waiting? All night? That's humiliating. My fingers were ice cold as I scrolled. Each comment felt like a tiny needle, no blood, just relentless pain. The church coordinator gently pushed the door open but stayed in the shadows. His voice was polite, apologetic. "Mrs. Harris, sorry, Miss Carter, we're already 4 hours past the scheduled time, per the contract. If you cancel now, the deposit is non-refundable. How would you like to proceed?" His eyes flicked to my gown, sympathetic for half a second, then professional detachment. I lowered my head. On my left ring finger, the 8-carat engagement ring gleamed coldly. The day he proposed, the sunset over the ocean burned gold. He knelt and said, "Evelyn, this is forever now." It felt like a shard of Antarctic ice gripping my finger. I twisted the ring once, then pulled. Click, a soft sound. I placed it on the worn wooden pew. In the unnatural silence of the church, the sound was shockingly loud. Lily covered her mouth, eyes wide. I didn't cry. Who would I cry for? The cameras outside? The strangers celebrating my humiliation online? My face was calm, so calm it felt unfamiliar. I lit up my phone again and scrolled through my contacts. Past names I hadn't touched in years. I stopped at one. The note said simply, "Mom?" The phone rang 5 times before it was picked up. Silence. "Just breathing, Mom," I said. My voice was dry but steady. "They've started." 2 seconds passed. Then my mother's voice, low, controlled, like iron soaked in ice water. "I know. Follow the first plan your father left behind. Step 1. Don't panic." The line went dead. I stood. The heavy fabric of my dress whispered as I moved. Lily tried to help with the train, but I waved her off. At the side door, I turned back. The ring lay alone on the pew. Still glittering, expensive, beautiful, utterly cold. By the next morning, I was drowning in headlines, newspapers, financial sites, social media feeds, everywhere Daniel Harris. He'd chosen a photo where he looked pensive, slightly troubled, like a man forced into an impossible situation. The headline screamed, "Daniel Harris speaks out." Evelyn was too dominant, wedding postponed due to family considerations. I sat by the floor-to-ceiling windows of my apartment. It was huge, empty. Boxes of wedding favors delivered just yesterday were still piled in the corner. The red wrapping almost painful to look at. I opened the interview on my tablet. Daniel sat on a leather sofa, Bookshelves behind him filled with hardcovers carefully curated, tasteful, expensive. The reporter asked, so the real reason for the postponement was personality differences? Daniel sighed. Perfect timing, perfect weight. Evelyn is an exceptional woman, he said gently. I've never denied that, but marriage, especially for families like ours, requires more than excellence. It requires gentleness, understanding, the ability to step back when needed. He lowered his gaze, lashes casting a shadow. My family needs a woman who can stand behind me, someone graceful, someone who lets me move forward without pressure. Evelyn. She has too many opinions sometimes. It's overwhelming, sincere, vulnerable, convincing. The comments were already unbearable. Team Daniel. A wife should be soft, like Luna. Evelyn looks scary. No wonder he ran. Status means nothing if your personalities clash. Daniel dodged a bullet. That woman would have ruined his life. My phone buzzed. A message from Lisa, the board secretary. Evelyn, the senior partners meeting at 3 p.m. Mr. Harris believes you may need some time to emotionally recalibrate. He suggests you skip this meeting. Minutes will be forwarded afterward. I replied with one word, fine. Then I opened my laptop and logged into the company's internal system. Username, password, incorrect password. I tried again, same result. I called the head of legal, Mr. Wu. I'd promoted him myself. The phone rang for a long time before he answered. Evelyn. His voice was vague, background eerily quiet. What happened to my system access? Well, He hesitated. Mr. Harris sent an email yesterday afternoon, said you'd be stepping away from all core projects temporarily due to personal reasons. Your permissions were frozen, just temporary. Don't overthink it. The Starcy acquisition too? I asked. Silence, Mr. Wu. His voice dropped to a whisper. The Starcy deal. The project lead was reassigned yesterday afternoon. It's Daniel now. The board was CCD. Evelyn, don't fight this head on. It won't end well for you. The Starcy deal. 2 years and 7 months of my life. Market research. 70 sleepless nights revising proposals. 3 trips to Europe. 1 hospitalization in Munich after acute gastritis because I downed that final glass of liquor to close the negotiation with their CEO. And now, it was Daniel's achievement. The moment I hung up, Daniel called. His voice was relaxed, amused. Did you see the news? He said lightly, Evelyn, take my advice, don't make a scene. Sign the breakup agreement. I'll give you 50 million, enough to live comfortably for the rest of your life. His tone hardened. If you insist on dragging this out, you'll get nothing. Your reputation will be destroyed. Are you threatening me, Daniel? I asked. He laughed softly, once seductive, now nauseating, threatening. I'm teaching you how the world works. Money and power decide everything, love. That's a luxury for people who can afford to play. What do you have left now? The call ended. I walked to the window and yanked the curtains open. Across the street, paparazzi. Long lenses trained on my apartment like sniper rifles. Waiting for a breakdown, for hysteria. I smiled at the glass, then slammed the curtains shut. I went into my bedroom and opened the concealed safe hidden behind the wardrobe panel. The password was my mother's birthday. At the very back lay an unmarked manila envelope, heavy. I untied the cotton string and pulled out the document. The edges were yellowed with age. At the top, elegant script read, Carter Group Shareholding Certificate. Holder, Evelyn Carter. Ownership, 34/8. At the bottom, my father's signature. Bold, unapologetic, dated 10 years ago. My phone lit up. A message from my mother. Your father left you a blade. It's time to draw it. Don't hesitate. 3 days later, I sat in the plush office of Daniel's attorney, Mr. Walker, early 50s, slicked back hair, tailored suit, slid a thick stack of documents across the table with a practiced smile. Miss Carter, he said smoothly, Mr. Harris values the history you share. This is a $50 million settlement. Sign it, and the two of you can part on good terms, clean, respectful. I picked up the documents and flipped through them slowly. The clauses were dense, precise, ruthless. Highlighted sections jumped out immediately. Voluntary forfeiture of all shares, options, and future profit claims in Nova Capital. Permanent waiver of any public mention of past personal or professional relations with Daniel Harris. Agreement not to pursue any legal action related to emotional distress, breach of promise, or asset disputes against Daniel Harris or his family. I need 3 days, I said. Closing the folder, Mr. Walker's smile thinned. Mr. Harris was hoping to resolve this today. Delays may negatively affect your public image. Then tell Daniel, I said calmly, leaning forward, that he can either give me 3 days or I'll hold a press conference this afternoon and explain exactly where Nova Capital's initial $70 million seed funding came from. I paused, watching his pupils tighten. I believe it was routed through a Caribbean banking channel. If I recall correctly, the smile vanished completely. I'll make a call, he said stiffly. 10 minutes later, he returned. Mr. Harris agrees. 3 days. I didn't go home afterward. I had the driver take me east. The city thinned, noise faded. Old embassy residences lined the streets, brick buildings hidden behind towering trees. The car stopped in front of a red brick townhouse with no sign, just a number. I rang the bell. A voice crackled through the intercom. Old. Steady. Who is it? Evelyn Carter. I'm here to see my grandfather's old friend, Mr. Shaw. The heavy wooden door opened. Mr. Shaw sat behind an enormous rosewood desk, silver hair neatly combed, reading glasses low on his nose. I handed him the documents. He read in silence, fingers tapping lightly against the paper. When he finished, he looked up, eyes sharp as a hawk's. So he said, How do you want to play this, girl? Step 1, I replied. Freeze all cross-border fund transfers linked to Nova Capital through Grindelwald Bank in Switzerland. Especially channel account goal 3347 that requires joint authorization from at least 2 core shareholders and the CEO of Carter Group, he said evenly. I reached into my bag and slid over a thinner envelope. Inside was a single page, Carter Group Emergency Authorization Order. Scope: full authority over all assets and legal matters involving Nova Capital, authorized by Evelyn Carter, Victoria Carter. Stamped in bold red, the Carter Group seal, embossed, irrefutable. Mr. Shaw stared at the seal for a long moment. A faint smile finally touched his lips. I haven't seen your mother activate this level of authority in 20 years, he said, still as decisive as ever. Fine, that account will be frozen by tomorrow afternoon. By the time I left, dusk had settled. I had just gotten into the car when my phone rang. An unfamiliar number, but I recognized the last digits. Luna Miller. I answered without speaking. Evelyn. Her voice was still syrupy. It's Luna. Would you like to have tea together? There are some things I really want to say to you in person. I named a hotel rooftop cafe, obscenely expensive. Perfect view. She was already there when I arrived. Window seat, Chanel suit from the latest collection. Around her neck, a diamond necklace I recognized instantly. Daniel had bought it at auction last week. It made the news. Evelyn. She stood up eagerly. Sit, please. I ordered ice water. She cradled her coffee cup, sincerity dripping from every word. I've always admired you, she said earnestly. You're capable, powerful, from such a good family, an inspiration to so many women. Then the sigh. But love doesn't work like business, Daniel. He's very traditional. He needs to feel needed, admired, softly cared for. She looked at me with practiced compassion. You're too bright, too independent. Standing beside you, he can't feel his own value. She reached out, trying to take my hand. I let her, then slowly turned my wrist and enclosed her hand instead. I smiled, for the first time in 3 days. It was real, Luna, I said gently. Don't worry. I paused. I'm not competing. She froze. I released her hand, took a sip of water, and stood. I've paid the bill. Enjoy yourself. As I walked away, I saw her immediately grab her phone, voice low. Expression sharp. The sweetness vanished, replaced by unease. In the elevator mirror, the softness in my smile was already gone. Only resolve remained. Monday morning, at exactly 9 o'clock, just like I had for the past 5 years, I walked into the lobby of Nova Capital. Polished marble floors reflected my heels as I approached the security gates. I swiped my card. Beep, a harsh red alarm sounded. The gate didn't move. A young security guard hurried over, nervous. I'm sorry, ma'am, your card seems to be invalid. Who are you here to see? I'll need you to register. The lobby slowed. People stopped walking. Glances came from every direction, curious, assessing, delighted, sympathetic. Whispers spread like a tide. That's Evelyn. Why would she still come? Didn't she get dumped and stripped of her shares? So pitiful. She used to be untouchable. Then the elevator chimed. Daniel stepped out, surrounded by executives. He was mid-conversation, confident, radiant, until he saw me. His smile froze. Evelyn. He walked over, voice low but clear enough for everyone to hear. What are you doing here? I'm a founding partner of this company, I said calmly. Why wouldn't I be here? One of the board members, Mr. Zhang, who'd always opposed me, cleared his throat and stepped forward. Evelyn, he said, putting on a grave expression, the board passed an emergency resolution. Due to your recent emotional instability and the negative public impact it's had on the company's reputation and stock price, we've decided to temporarily suspend all your duties. Go home, rest, he added kindly, once things settle down. Emotional instability? I smiled. Diagnosed by whom? Which hospital? Where's the report? Evelyn. Daniel snapped. Don't embarrass yourself. Luna stepped out from the back of the crowd. She was wearing professional attire today, hair neatly pinned. A folder in her hands, perfectly styled as an elite. She stopped just behind Daniel, her expression carefully conflicted. Evelyn, she said softly but loudly enough for all to hear, we know you're hurting. But the video of you taking off your ring at the church, and your recent emotional episodes, they've spread everywhere. She hesitated. The stock dropped almost 4% on Friday. The board is just thinking about the bigger picture. Her words were velvet. The blade underneath was sharp. Around us, people nodded. The whispers grew louder. So I said, meeting each familiar face, the people who'd worked late nights with me, celebrated wins with me, once called me Evelyn Carter with respect, you've all decided to remove me, completely, is that it? Daniel stepped closer. Too close, only I could hear him now. I left you dignity, he hissed, don't throw it away, walk out now, and I'll still give you the 50 million. His breath smelled of the woody cologne I'd once loved. If you push this, he continued, voice venomous, I will make sure you never work in this industry again anywhere, I promise. I looked into his eyes. Once, I'd thought them deep. Now, they were empty, calculating. Fine, I said. I turned, straightened my back, and walked toward the glass doors. My heels struck the floor sharp, steady, unforgiving. Behind me, silence. By that afternoon, my name and photo were wiped from Nova Capital's website and promotional materials, as if I had never existed. The media descended again, blood in the water, total ouster. Ex-fiancé expelled from Nova Capital. From heiress in waiting to unemployed woman, what went wrong? Emotional women don't belong in the boardroom? That night, my office was cleared, my coffee mug, the succulent I'd kept alive for 3 years, team awards, a half-open pack of crackers in my drawer, all shoved into battered cardboard boxes. They were stacked outside my apartment door. I sat on the floor, boxes everywhere, some open, some sealed. The lights were off, city neon bled in through the windows, garish, indifferent. My phone lit up. Mom, she hadn't called me in 3 years. Not once except that single brief call. I answered. No greeting, no comfort, just one cold question. Are you ready? I looked around at the wreckage of 5 years of work and pride. My nails dug into my palm. The pain sharpened my mind. Yes, I said slowly, Mom, I'm ready. Daniel and Luna came together. They didn't even bother pretending anymore. Daniel carried a document folder. Luna followed behind him, holding 2 cups of coffee, one for him, one for herself. Last chance, Evelyn. Daniel dropped the folder onto the coffee table and sat down like he owned the place. Signed this final voluntary exit and asset division agreement. He leaned forward, eyes sharp. You'll relinquish all claims to shares in Nova Capital. All intellectual property and outcomes from projects you led, including Star C, will belong to the company, which means me. A pause, and you agree to permanently exit the venture capital industry. If you sign, he continued, I'll give you 80 million, lump sum. You can take it anywhere in the world and start over. Then his voice hardened. If you don't, I'll use every resource I have to blacklist you. Not just domestically, globally. You won't get a dime, you won't even be able to find a job. And don't think Carter Group can save you. Luna set Daniel's coffee down and sat beside me to close. Her perfume was overwhelming. Evelyn, she whispered with fake pity. Don't fight this, you can't win. Daniel's at his peak. Why make things harder for yourself? 80 million is more than enough for a woman to live beautifully. She added gently, why exhaust yourself like this? She reached for my hand. I pulled away. I stared at the document. They didn't just want money. They wanted to erase me, every trace, every contribution, as if I were a corrupted file to be deleted. Pen, I said. Daniel blinked, clearly not expecting compliance. Luna immediately pulled a Mont Blanc pen from her Hermes bag and handed it over. Relief flickered across her face. I turned to the last page, the signature line. The pen hovered. Then I signed, Evelyn Carter, slowly, heavily, each stroke deliberate. I set the pen down. Done. Daniel snatched the papers, checked the signature, and smiled the smile of a victor. A wise decision, he said, standing. The money will be transferred within 72 hours. I hope we never meet again. They left, the door closed, the sound wasn't loud. But in the dead silence of the room, it hit like thunder. I didn't move. The light outside faded until the apartment was swallowed by darkness. My phone lit up automatically. Daniel and Luna's latest post. A photo in a high-end restaurant. Champagne glasses raised. City lights glittering behind them. Caption: a new beginning. Grateful for everything. The comments flooded in. Congratulations, Mr. Harris. Perfect couple. Wishing you happiness. The darkness pressed in. Everything I'd held back, the restraint, the pride, the rage, the humiliation collapsed at once. I curled up, hugging my knees, burying my face, and I cried. Silently, my shoulders shook violently. Tears poured out, soaking the hem of my skirt hot, relentless. I bit my lip until it hurt. No sound. No one could hear. I didn't know how long it lasted. My chest ached, my eyes burned. I reached for my phone and set a timer. 10 minutes. The countdown began. 9:59, 9:58. When the phone vibrated, I lifted my head. 10 minutes. I wiped my face hard with my sleeve again, until my skin hurt. Then I stood, unsteady but straight. In the bathroom, harsh white light flooded the mirror. The woman staring back at me looked wrecked. Swollen eyes, streaked makeup, tangled hair, pathetic. I turned on the faucet and splashed my face with cold water over and over. When I looked again, the tears were gone, the pain sank, frozen. What remained was clarity, brutal, unforgiving. I dried my face, picked up my phone, and dialed a number I had saved for years but never used. It connected. Mr. Shaw, I said, my voice hoarse but steady. It's Evelyn, they've made their move. A pause. All of it? He asked. All of it, I replied. I want everything back, with interest. 1 week later, the financial world woke up to an earthquake. Market shock. Tech giant Kellen Technologies accepts full acquisition offer from Carter Group. Kellen Technologies, Nova Capital's largest, most profitable, and most strategically critical client, the relationship Daniel had spent years cultivating. The cornerstone of Nova Capital's valuation. The press conference was scheduled for 10 a.m. at Carter Group headquarters. By 9:55, the grand ballroom was already packed. Financial reporters from around the world, cameras shoulder to shoulder, voices buzzing. Everyone was asking the same question. Why would Carter Group, whose core business lay elsewhere, suddenly acquire a tech company only tangentially related to its portfolio? Daniel was there. His expression was tight, forced calm, barely holding. He stood with Kellen's executives, speaking in low tones, trying for one last-minute save. 10 o'clock. The carved double doors at the side of the ballroom opened slowly. Every camera swung. I walked in. 10-centimeter black stilettos, impeccably tailored charcoal suit, white silk blouse, hair pulled back, flawless, red lipstick, controlled, precise. My heels struck the marble floor, crisp, measured. The room fell silent, dead quiet. Then an explosion. It's Evelyn, Daniel Harris's ex-fiancée. Is she representing Carter Group? Wasn't she forced out of Nova Capital? Flashbulbs went wild. Questions flew like shrapnel. Ms. Carter, are you here on behalf of Carter Group? Are you and Mr. Harris still engaged? Is this acquisition retaliation? What is your relationship with Carter Group? I stepped onto the stage and adjusted the microphone. Calm, unhurried, my gaze swept across the crowd and paused briefly on Daniel's face, white, rigid. Good morning, I said. My voice amplified, steady. My name is Evelyn Carter. A beat. I am Executive Vice President of Carter Group and the fully authorized lead of this acquisition. Another beat. I am also the sole heir of Carter Group's founder, my late father, William Carter. The room detonated. Gasps, shouts. Camera shutters screaming. Daniel froze, as if struck by lightning. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. I pressed the remote. The screen behind me lit up. Slide 1. Nova Capital financial statements, key figures circled in red. During our due diligence, I said evenly, we identified multiple serious compliance violations in Nova Capital's financial reporting over the past 3 years, including inflated profits, undisclosed related party transactions, and improper tax handling. Supporting evidence has been submitted to the SEC and tax authorities. Chaos. Daniel surged forward, face flushed, but security blocked him. Evelyn, this is slander, retaliation, he shouted. I didn't look at him. I pressed the remote. Slide 2. Bank transaction records, complex flows, offshore accounts, red lines tracing the path. Regarding Nova Capital's initial $70 million seed funding, I continued, records show it originated from a Carter Group-affiliated educational entrepreneurship fund established 10 years ago. Mr. Harris failed to fully disclose his business plan during application and did not meet the agreed return obligations. Carter Group reserves all legal rights. Daniel's face drained of color, his hands clenched around the security guard's arm, knuckles white. Slide 3. Luna Miller's credentials, degrees, employment records, marked in bold red, forged. Lastly, I said, voice still calm, Ms. Luna Miller frequently presented publicly as an Ivy League graduate and former investment banker. After verification, all such credentials were found to be falsified. Her actual record appeared on screen, incomplete degree, no financial industry employment. Cameras swung toward the back. Luna stood frozen, eyes wide, hands raised instinctively to block her face as reporters closed in. Her carefully constructed image shattered in seconds. Based on these findings, I concluded, Carter Group has determined that Nova Capital no longer meets our standards for partnership. All existing and future collaborations will be terminated effective immediately. For Kellen Technologies, post-acquisition operations previously managed by Nova Capital will be fully re-evaluated. I paused, looked directly at Daniel. Integrity is the foundation of every business Carter Group has built for 70 years. Thank you. I turned off the microphone and walked away. Behind me, Daniel screamed. The room erupted. Reporters shouted. Phones rang. Someone cried. The stock ticker flashed on the side screens. Nova Capital Live. The line plunged. 5, 10, 20, 30. Free fall. Inside the private elevator. The noise vanished, the doors slid shut, the driver waited outside. Back to the office, Ms. Carter? He asked. I glanced at the building once Nova Capital's headquarters in the distance. Yes, I said quietly. My phone vibrated nonstop in my pocket. Daniel, again. I pulled it out, looked at his name, then held down the power button. Shut down, silence. Sunlight streamed through the car window. I closed my eyes and smiled cold, sharp. The game had only just begun. Nova Capital's collapse made front-page news for 3 consecutive days. Trading was suspended before the end of the first week. Regulators moved fast. Audits, investigations, asset freezes. Daniel Harris went from rising star of the investment world to key subject under regulatory review almost overnight. Sponsors withdrew. Partners distanced themselves, former allies deleted photos, denied knowing him, scrubbed their digital trails clean. The industry is ruthless that way. As for Luna Miller, her story didn't last long. Fake degrees, fabricated RSMS, misrepresentation. The same media that once praised her elegance and charm now dissected her background with surgical cruelty. By the 3rd day, she disappeared from public view entirely. No statements, no apologies, just silence. I never answered Daniel's calls, not once later. I heard he tried to reach my lawyers, then my mother, then Mr. Shaw. Every door stayed closed. The Carter Group legal team issued a single formal notice. All matters will proceed through official legal channels. Personal contact is neither necessary nor appropriate. That was the end of it. 2 weeks later, I returned to my office, not at Nova Capital, at Carter Group headquarters. My name was already engraved on the glass wall outside. Evelyn Carter, Executive Vice President. Inside, sunlight spilled across a clean, spacious desk. No remnants of the past, no trophies borrowed from someone else's stage. Everything here belonged to me. At 10 sharp, the board meeting began. Men and women who had shaped global markets sat around the table, waiting, listening, for my decision. I looked at the agenda: new acquisitions, strategic divestments, long-term restructuring, real power, not borrowed, not conditional, not granted by anyone's approval, earned, inherited, and now claimed. That evening, I stopped by the old church. It was quiet, empty. The pew where I had once sat was still there, polished smooth by time and hands. For a moment, I stood still, then I turned and walked out. I didn't look back. Some stories end with forgiveness. Mine didn't. It ended with clarity, with balance restored, with the quiet certainty that I would never again build my future on someone else's promise. The rules had been rewritten, and this time, I was the one who wrote them.